Gloss versus reality. The evening Windsor switched off Montecito, making every press release irrelevant. One frame from Windsor's State Hall, Catherine moving beneath chandelier light in a jeweled tiara, did more to set the agenda than 100 interviews and hundreds of posts. It wasn't just a banquet, it was an exam in the right to speak for a nation. And in the contrast, we suddenly saw how tired the public is of proving and how hungry it is for meaning. You felt it too, didn't you? That silence that needs no explanation, no we're just like you, no look at our life, no here's our playlist. Mere presence doing more work than any speech. And then, right on the nerves, the answering image from a California garden, a lemon yellow dress, the dogs, a caption about sweet moments, artfully smoothed pleats, and a perfectly timed drop into the feed. Everything, on paper, correct, yet the viewer instantly reads something else. When a picture is made against the noise of worry leaks through. Why is there so much directing inside this simplicity? Why does a domestic scene smell like backstage? Why does rare so often arrive on a schedule? That's the first hook that holds attention, not a comparison of outfits, but a collision of meanings, duty versus display, service versus self-presentation. Next, Santa Barbara. A private fundraiser at Kevin Costner's place, a night meant to be off-protocol, music, warm light, raising money for the people who show up first when things go wrong. Harry takes the mic, and for once his presence sounds exactly on mission. But the lens inevitably catches the familiar smile and learned pose at his side, and the audience finds itself bracing for something extra, a gesture that eclipses the speech, a shift that recenters the frame, even 1 second where we becomes more important than who it's for. Organizers preemptively limit access to the microphone, a correct choice that paradoxically generates a new awkwardness. Attention withheld can sound louder than words aloud. At precisely that moment the central ache of today's audience arrives, trust. You can't buy it with a playlist of what was playing on our lawn, sugarcoat it with immaculate at-home stories, or filter it through a retro oh hi, birthday boy shot from 10 years ago. Trust is alignment of moment and motive when the reason you're there isn't you, but those you came out to serve. Which is why every post with the children, packaged as rare and personal yet landing at the exact minute a brand needs oxygen, lands badly. We're adults. We know rarity has a price. But some things aren't for sale instinctively. Childhood is the first of them. That's not snark, it's baseline ethics. Private life is private always, not only until the algorithm dips. Yes, the numbers confirm the fatigue. Algorithms are indifferent, they vote with completion curves. The first wave of curiosity has passed, the second never came. A season shot in 2 bursts didn't recapture the debut's novelty. The shop window now shows a troubling math, lots of production, little return. Not because home warmth is unwanted, but because warmth doesn't run on a premiere calendar. You can't meter it out in rare tiles. It's either there, or it isn't. Counterpoint, Harry's other trajectory. Ukraine. A route where, finally, everything aligns. The cause is clear, the task concrete, the continuation measurable. We can't stop the war, but we can speed the recovery. That's the one sentence people forgive a lot for. Which is exactly why any nearby my conscience is clear line in a companion interview feels like a step backward. We're not disputing the right, just the timing. When you've found the right scale, don't pivot back to litigating your own past. The audience just started to believe this isn't about you. There's another theme, the comparison no one can avoid. On one side, the tiara as a language of institution, pauses that speak louder than words, a classic that needs no explainer course. On the other, instant answers from a curated garden feed, rare shots of the kids' backs at a playground, a theme park day filmed as if it's purely family but still neatly teed up for a partner channel's broadcast. Real simplicity distrusts cameras, real closeness doesn't require proxy photographers. Once the viewer catches that, anger fades and a squint replaces it. Where's the story here and where's the sell-through? At this point, the people entering the domestic lane without any claim to a crown quietly take the floor. Call it the jam effect. The Beckhams don't explain how wonderful it is to pick plums as a family, they show warm syrup sliding down a jar's threads and don't hide the dirt under their nails. That frame works not because there are celebrities in it, but because there's fact. Fact always beats stylization. If you're selling home, Bring the smell of beeswax, not lace on the lid. That isn't a sneer, it's advice to anyone serious about playing simple. You can't simulate it with expensive textures. You can only live it. We remember the different weights argument too. It's fair, stewarding an institution isn't the same as authoring a private legend. Which is precisely why the private legend buckles the moment its inhale and exhale depend on the rhythm of someone else's victories. Every round of content in reply cheapens both sides. The winner doesn't need validation, the struggler should take a pause. Pause is the most underrated tool in modern reputation. Silence, well held, is worth more than 1,000 correct words spoken out of season. And then, memory. A retro birthday photo is a strong move until it drags a stranger's story by the tail. 2015 drags in other evenings, other faces, another London. When you need today, you offer once upon a time. Even a perfect picture starts to play like a borrowed quote. Gloss will forgive that, the era of reflex fact-checking won't. Want belief in now? Show now. Without last decade's filters and tomorrow's promises. The way out is, oddly, simple and therefore hard. Stop synchronizing life to someone else's house's beats. Stop trading rarity as a communication format. Move the camera from us to the work, name sums, addresses, timelines, let the audience join not the image, but the action. Rebuild boundaries where no one expects them anymore. And then wait. Yes, wait. Reputation isn't fireworks, it's banked coals that warm people for years. You can't fan them nightly, they'll go out. That evening when a tiara said more than any press release didn't end the argument, it exposed a difference of method. They're an institution that prizes mission's logic over picture's gloss. Here, a legend still heavy on watch what we can do and too light on here's what we did. Audiences forgive mistakes, they don't forgive fakery. You can't talk them into trust, you can hold it. With hooks of meaning, when a warm story doesn't cover a void but leads to the deed. With tempo, no shrillness, no syncopation, a confidence rhythm. Above all, with respect for the one resource we share, attention. It's the only currency truly terrifying to lose. That night, attention was invested where it compounds without influencers. For everyone else playing domestic gloss, this is a good moment to set the camera down and ask out loud, what remains if we mute the sound? If the answer is work, the reputation will weather any squall. If the answer is the picture, it's time to change not the dress or the caption, but the plot.